This is episode 24, How Living in a Perception of a Projection Makes a Messy Life. Welcome to Alive by Design. My name is Blake Mallon, and we're here to bring you inspiring people, principles, and practices to help you wake up, move toward your meant to, and feel fully alive. Open your mind and let's dive in. Hey guys, before you listen to the podcast, I just want to drop in and say I appreciate you for being here, and I'm super excited about this new Walk With Me series. These are solo episodes where I take some time in the middle of my morning run through the Santa Monica Mountains to share some inspired ideas and thoughts on my mind and heart. If you want to join me for any of these conversations live, you can catch me many mornings on my Facebook page, facebook.com/blakemallon.page. Would love to see you there. Love you guys. Enjoy the episode. Walk with me this morning. So I have a question for you. Do you know anyone that it feels like no matter how hard they try, no matter how much they give, no matter how far they go, they feel like it's never enough, or they're never enough? Or how about somebody that just constantly feels like the world's out to get them, like everything's going wrong? And then every once in a while, it's rare, but do you know anybody that just seems like happy, fulfilled, calm, at peace, and things just seem to work out? I think I understand why these three types of people feel this way. And it comes down to a personal perception and understanding that perception is really a projection, and to go even deeper, a perception is really a projection of a projection. And I'll explain what I mean if you guys walk with me for a little bit this morning and deconstruct and distill all this down and explain how we might want to adjust maybe our own perception or help those around us do the same. So let's talk about those three types of people that I mentioned, and maybe some people that came to your mind when I said it. So people out there that feel like it's never enough, right? I want you guys to put kind of that person in your mind, that person in your heart that you know, like they try, they give it all, they go, you know, and maybe at times it doesn't go as well as planned, or maybe at times it goes fantastic. But the problem is, no matter which one it is, no matter how good they are, how great what they do, how much accomplishment they achieve, it just feels like it's never enough. They feel like they're never enough. They feel like there's always got to be more. They're always hard on themselves. And the question is why? I think by now you guys probably know me pretty well. I ask that question a lot, mainly to myself. Why is that the case? You guys, and I think it comes down to this realization of kind of our own perception and how we choose for that to work in our own mind. You see, for a lot of those people, it comes down to a perception and a projection. So let me explain what I mean. We live in a perception, not a reality, but our perception of reality. But for most people, our perception is a projection. It's not the reality, it's a projection in our mind of what we perceive that reality to be. But there's one step further, and if you get this, you got this. Most people don't live in just a projection in their own mind. They live in a projection of a projection. And what I mean by that is a projection of somebody else's projection. Meaning, have you guys ever been in a place where you find yourself thinking, well, I think that they think this about me? It's exactly what I mean, right? So I'm thinking that they're thinking this. I'm thinking that if I do this, this person might think this. And we're constantly doing that all day long. We're constantly making these massive assumptions of what we think other people will think about us. And that's what I mean by our perception is shaped by our projection of somebody else's projection. which causes problems if you really get to the core of it, because it's all based on radical assumption. We're assuming, right, what another person is thinking, which we have no idea. How many of us have ever been guilty of thinking somebody else was thinking something and finding out later that they were not thinking anything like that? We're constantly living our life in a perception of our projection of somebody else's projection of us. And the issue with that is we often, many of us and many people, especially those that feel like no matter what they do is enough, we're then altering our actions, what we do, what we say, ultimately who we are, based on what we think other people think. For those that follow my conversation or have seen my TED Talk, I kind of call this concept chasing supposed to, because that's the easiest way for me to sum it up. It's like we're constantly trying to do what other people say or think we're supposed to do. We're constantly trying to be, right, what we think they think we're supposed to be, right? What are we supposed to do right now to be a good parent? We're adjusting our actions based on what we think others think we're supposed to do. What are we supposed to do right now, right, to be a good friend? What are we supposed to do right now to be a good coworker? What are we supposed to do right now to be a good partner? What are we supposed to do right now to be a good entrepreneur? What are we supposed to do right now to be successful? What are we supposed to do? Insert blank. Supposed to, by definition, is a projection of a projection. It's what we think other people think we're supposed to do. And because we think others think that, we adjust our actions. And the problem with that is in constantly adjusting what we do and how we do it, what we say and how we say it, what we think and how we think it, based on us constantly assuming what we think other people think we're supposed to do, we're literally never really truly being who we are. And for those of us that have friends or family members, know people that constantly push, go, strive, achieve, produce, but never feel like they're enough, it's because we have an assumption or a projection that others, right, have such a high standard of perfection, right, about us that we're never, no matter how hard we strive, able to do good enough, to be enough. When if we really were to break it down, it's all this projection of a projection. And in that case, a projection of perfection, which doesn't exist. In today's world, the perceived standards are so high, everybody only posting the best, right? It's like their best life on their Instagram channel, their best life on their social media. All of a sudden we have this false projection of what other people are, who they are, what they're doing. And we reflect that back on us and create this standard that nobody can live up to, but it's fake, but it's false. But we get stuck in this loop, constantly shaping our perception based on what we think other people think about us. It's not even a reality. How many of you guys is this making sense to? You follow what I'm saying? Especially for those maybe that are those individuals that constantly feel like, man, no matter what I do, I never feel fulfilled. I never feel proud. I never feel like it's enough. I always feel like I have to do more. I'm telling ya, I just gave you the reason, and it has nothing to do with the reality, and it has nothing even to do with the people around you. It has to do with how we're choosing to perceive or project what we think they think about us, which at the end of the day is on us. If you got it, say I got it. Below. Am I going too deep? Or is this making sense? Well, Blake, what about the other two people? Well, same concept, just different perspective. So like, if you've ever met somebody that is in a constant state of, man, like the world's out to get me. Constant state of, everything negative happens. Constant state of, this person doesn't like me. This person hates me. This person must be saying something bad about me. This person is out to get me. This person or this thing or this situation, right? It's constantly back to, how it affects me. In psychology, we kind of call this a victim mentality. Although people that have a victim mentality never admit they have a victim mentality. It's not me, it's them. No, but they really are, but it really is. Yeah. But again, the question is why? And again, it has to do with our perception is a projection of a projection. But in this case, we are projecting onto others our own beliefs and our own perceptions of which we reflect onto others. Stay with me here. Give you the example. The people that constantly think they're being judged. Right, how many of you guys know people that constantly think, man, they're judging me, that person's attacking me, that person saying something about me. Like the people that are constantly saying they're in a place of being judged, think about it. They're usually the people that judge others the most. So if internally every day, maybe if it's not allowed, if internally the thoughts are constant thoughts of judgment of others, then our projection is that other people are like us. So we project that other people are judging us because we're the one judging others. I'll give you like a layman's example. Like talking trash. And I'm not talking trash like in a fun spirit, like sports part of the game or, friends with mutual respect. Like, I know there's a fun air to kind of trash talking. A lot of people love it. But I mean like, pervasive trash talking. Like the people that think other people are always talking trash or negative about them are the people that are always talking trash about others. It's easy. If you're someone that thinks critically about others and says or verbalizes things critical about others, then you project that their projection is like yours, so you think that they're critical about you. And I only say that, and I'll use me as a real life example here, guys. And this isn't just to, come across, righteous or, overly, aware by any means. I have all my faults as well, insecurities as well, but I don't talk trash. I don't really talk negative about people. It doesn't even hit my internal dialogue. I never have. So I never assume that somebody is talking negative about me. I'm not saying they don't. I'm sure plenty of people do. But it never passes my mind. I don't even think about it. Never assume. I'm sure it happens. But again, if it does, it's not in my space because I don't even think about it because I don't do that of others. So I don't project that others do that to me. And I also know that if they do, it's probably not about me. It's probably more about them because that's how they think about others. So that's what they assume is coming back. Simple example. But guys, that goes with judgment of others. If we're critical of others, we assume they're critical back. If we constantly think in a negative state, right? We constantly focus on problems or risks or how I might get hurt here, right? Then we constantly assume other people are out to hurt. But it's not about others. That's a projection based on your perception that you're reflecting back on you. And you guys, I watch people do this all the time. I'll give you another example on relationships, right? It happens all the time in relationships. Unfortunately, maybe someone went through a rough relationship. Maybe someone was in a relationship where someone did make a real mistake, right? They broke integrity, they broke loyalty, they broke trust. Maybe they cheated or did something against a value system, and maybe that was real, and that led to ending of a relationship, right? Values conflict, trust broken, happens all the time. But the problem is that instance creates a perception and a projection where now that person, if they're not aware of what we're talking about, they're gonna project that other people they get in relationships with are gonna do the same thing. And you guys, often it's the person that is the person that broke the trust. They broke the trust, you broke the loyalty. If you're someone that breaks trust, you project that other people break trust. If you're someone that breaks loyalty, then you project that other people break loyalty. Guys, when we view negativity, right, or see criticism or flaws in others, it's usually because we assume, right, our own perception that in others. It's the same concept, different way of looking at it. Again, our perception is a projection of a projection. The first person, right, they're assuming that other people are setting such a high standard, they can't live up to it. That's why they feel like they're never enough. The second person, right, because they're assuming other people, right, are critical or negative or out to get them because of their vantage point or their perspective, it reflects back. Same concept, different lens. How many of you guys are getting this, right? If you get it, say, I got it. Third person, they're rare, but they're amazing. The people that are just happy. They're happy, love people, high energy, constant positivity, lovers of life, full of energy, people really alive. How many of you guys have met people like this? They're more rare than the other two, at least in my experience. And things just seem to work. People seem to like them. They have less drama in their life. You know, energy's positive. Things flow. Why? Same concept. Because they've done the work on themselves to believe, to trust, to love, to know that they're not perfect. They have flaws. They have things that they mess up and weaknesses like we all do. And because we recognize, right, they have weaknesses and flaws, they're respectful of other people's weaknesses and flaws. So they're not critical or judgment. They love people as they are. It's unconditional because they know who they are. At the end of the day, guys, that's where we all want to get to. And the way to get to that, where our projection of others' projection, right, is the projection we want back, you know the answer. It comes down to becoming the best version of ourself, growing ourself, working on ourself, which starts by stop chasing supposed to, right? If you're constantly chasing what you're supposed to do and who you're supposed to be and what others think you're supposed to, right, become, by definition, you are moving away from who you are, right? Who you're meant to be, what you're meant to do, who you're meant to become. Real simple. Follow what other people tell you you should be. You'll never be who you're meant to be. So step one is stop chasing supposed to. Stop trying to strive for the false projection of a projection, like those in the first category we talked about. Step two is to work on ourselves. Know that, hey, we all have flaws. We all have imperfections. None of us is perfect. And be okay with that. And love yourself for your flaws as well as your strengths. And if you love yourself for both your strengths and your flaws, you learn to love others for their strengths and their flaws and not be critical or judgmental when it comes to other people. Don't be negative. Don't tear people down. Don't say negative things. If you don't tear others down, you won't perceive that others are tearing you down. Just flip your perspective on yourself and the actions you take, and you won't project that onto others, which is really you just reshaping the projection back within you. And that's the work, guys. Don't worry, you don't got to get it today in this conversation. You don't got to get it this week. You don't even got to get it during quarantine and crisis, although we have the time to make progress. You guys, that's what life's all about. Life's all about, at the end of the day, removing the shell, removing the supposed to, becoming who you're meant to be, being who you are, letting go of all that expectation, letting go of all that projection of a projection, and just being yourself. And if you're yourself and then become the best version of yourself, then you'll start to recognize the best version of others. And you'll see that everything changes, right? The energy, your fulfillment, right? Your growth, your level of happiness, your relationships. And when all that stuff changes, guys, the energy shifts and the world shifts and things just start to work because of what you start to attract. It's all about how we learn to adjust our own perception and understand that often we're living in this projection of a projection, right? That we can do without. Love you guys. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane. Continue to grow through this, not just go through this. We have an ultimate time right now to work on ourselves, and hopefully these conversations are helping. If you got value, click share to your friends. Let's get as many people participating as possible. And until next time, we get to walk together. Have a great day, everybody.
Hey guys, one last thing. I'm super excited that this new podcast, Alive by Design, just went live, and I want to celebrate by giving away $500 cash to 5 lucky winners over the first 5 weeks. You see, I designed the show to bring you inspired thoughts and fascinating conversations with the world's most impactful people, to provide transformative principles and practices to help you wake up, move toward your meant to, and feel fully alive. And I'd love for you to help me spread the word now. So to enter the giveaway, follow 3 simple steps. Step 1, simply subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on this platform right now. Step 2, find this giveaway video post on my Instagram @BlakeMallon or my Facebook or LinkedIn profile and share it to your Instagram story or your Facebook and LinkedIn profile. When all done, simply comment "Alive" and tag 3 friends on that same post. Weekly winners will be chosen randomly and announced publicly on my Instagram and Facebook story each of the first 5 Saturdays after launch. Would really appreciate your support, so if I've ever given you value, please do me this personal favor and go subscribe now. And if you found today's episode helpful in any way, make sure you share this with at least one friend today. You have the power right now to change someone's day. So send them a text message with a link to alivebydesign.com, or simply copy and paste the link right from this podcast platform. Who's one person you know right now that you want to see succeed, that you want to see grow, that you want to see feel more alive? Shoot them a text with your largest takeaway from today and be a light in their day. And if you were referred here by a friend, make sure you shoot them a text back and say thank you. I'd love to hear from you directly on what you got from today's podcast. So if you're up for it, drop by my Instagram @BlakeMallon and shoot me a DM. And as always, thank you for showing up. I'm grateful for you, and I hope our time together today in some small way helped you feel a little more alive. Until next time.